Hi, here's Chris. I would like to introduce you today my new modifier called Smart Cable here. And you can see it's placed here in the asset browser and after installation, and then you have a nice icon and can use it here onto curves. What does it? It's a very quick and fast solution to create cables. I know you can do cables in all kind in Blender directly without using an add-on, but my intention was to save some time and don't use several modifiers to create all the stuff I show you later. And it was just an idea to say, if you are creating cables and you want to save some time, you use my modifier and can use or can create some different object. So these are not only cables, you can also create other objects, as you can see here. These are patterns or parts that can be used in this modifier, and I will show you now how it works. So everything is based on a curve. This is a regular Bezier curve here I created, and you can set the resolution here to a nice resolution to have a very smooth curve. And then you can go here onto the asset browser and just drag and drop the modifier onto this curve. What now happens is it will create directly a cable object that is open. You can see it here, it's not capped. And the same on the other side here, there's no caption. And to cap or to close these holes here, you can use here in the modifier menu, you see the Smart Cable modifier, and you have some categories here. And the first one is the options for the cable itself. And there you can set the fill cable option here, and now the caps are filled now, and you see the cable is closed. So you can already use it as a cable, or I don't know, a line, whatever, a power line. Good. The next option here in this cable area is the start and end positions factors here, the sliders. So what you see here is the cable is ending here at the end, and you can see you can now use this factor or this slider to change the position, the end position of your cable. The same can be done here for the start position. In this way you can use the basic curve shape and can create or change the length of the cable on the curve. So to see the basic curve, you can go into the global settings. This is one of the one more area here, or more some more options, and there you can see show curve, or you can see this option and switch it on. And now we see the basic curve we use here. It is, and you can now see where the cable is placed on the curve. This is the only function you can use here, so you can change the length of the cable or the starting point. The next one is a material. That's very easy to explain. I don't show it to you. You can just click here and choose one of the materials you have in your scene, and this material can be then added to this object. The next one is resolution. The resolution is used for the resolution of the circle here, and it's set to 32 sides. And I can show it to you here with the wireframe mode. So you can see all these points here are 32. And you can now reduce the points here, the point amount, down to 3. So this is a very smallest value to create a cable-like object. So then you can also add another modifier, for example, a subdivision surface modifier, and later and set the resolution a little bit up, and now you have a basic object to use it for subdivisions, for example. But you don't really need this. You can also leave or keep the value here at 32, and so we can go on. So the next parameter is the diameter. The diameter, you can imagine, it's the diameter of your cable. So we can change the diameter here, and the diameter is the basic diameter of your cable. You can also go into the curve and change the radius of your points here. Radius, and you see the curve can have different radius values at every point. So if you change the diameter, so the diameter will be work as a basic value or the basic diameter, and the point radius here is like a factor. So it's a factor of 2.5 to 0.1 here. So it's here a bigger value at this point. So I don't need to explain it to you. You can see it. You can do this for every point. You can change the value here, the radii. So great. I set it back to 1, and now we have the regular cable. So the next option is a smooth option. You can also smooth the object down to 0, so you don't have any smoothing here. As you can see, there are some, I changed it to 16 so we can see it better here. This is a smoothing, and you can add smoothing to this object. I set it back to 30. Great. So these are the options here for the basic cable. The next one is head. The head option is used for the first point of the curve. The curve has always a starting point and an end point. And for the starting point, you can use an object. So we do it now here, and we use, for example, for the head, this object. Here it is. And by the way, we do the same for the tail object, for the end, and use this one here. And you can see here are the objects. So what you can do here now is, for example, we do it for the tail as an example. You can either change the size of your object individually, or you can change the diameter and put it down to maybe have a real diameter. I don't know how many, 5 millimeters or 5 millimeters. No, not enough. Let's say 15 millimeters, like this. So now we have two possibilities. So for the tail, you can also change the rotation like this, and you can change this rotation, and of course this rotation, all the things. And then you have this translation, so we can change the translation here. What happens then if you go into the curve and you change, for example, the angle? So you see the object will follow the endpoint and rotate with the endpoint, but it will be shifted because you have changed the value here. The same can be done also for the shifting here in this direction, in the epsilon. And now you can see you can put the end object a little bit into the cable if you want, if you need this. The same can be done here for the first one, for the head here, and the same can be done here, and you can switch or shift the object if you want it. So you can also do it or put it here, but it's always orientated, or the orientation of this object is always based on this point. So this is the reason why it's not following the curve. Good. So next, don't forget, it's a simple cable. Yeah, it's smart but simple. Good. The next one is if you don't like to have a cable like this one here, for example, and maybe you want another cable style, so we can change the shape of your center object. So we come now to the center part. Oh yeah, I forgot something. You can switch here in the global settings. You can also switch between the head and the tail if you want in a fast way, and then it's all fine. So realize instances is important to create. To apply this object to a mesh, and you can click on realize instances. Another reason for this is it can sometimes increase the speed if you have a very complex object. Good. So we go now to the center part. So we don't want to have this round cable. We would like to have a shape that we created by yourself. So for example, we want a flat cable. So I have prepared a small object here. I've prepared the objects here for the center in different orientations, and that have a reason, because you are completely free. You don't need to know which axis is used for this for the cable here. For your information, I use the x-axis here, the red one. The x-axis is used to distribute the objects here along the curve. Okay, so this is the axis that is used. So in this case, the chain would be placed here on this axis. So what I show you now is the flat cable part. I see here's a different object. Good. A flat cable, and I use this pattern here to use it as a cable or a flat cable. So this pattern will be now placed along this curve. To do this, you just go to the curve, go to the center part, and choose the center object, this one. And now you see it's placed here along the curve. You see? These are all objects placed along the curve. But we see also this is it has the wrong direction. So the reason is because, as I explained, the x-axis is used as a direction for the curve, and our object is focusing or directing up. So we need to rotate it on the x-axis, on this one here. To do this, we go into the modifier here, and we know it's the epsilon axis here, this one, or y-axis, and we change it to 90 degrees, and now it's rotated and works very nice as a cable object. And if I switch the wireframe on, we can see it's placed here along the curve, and now you can use it. I go into the curve again, where's the center here, and you can also rotate. Here the rotation can be changed, and you can see it's working very nice here. So, and you can also change the size. You can do this by yourself here. Okay, now, and you see it's working very nice. You also see the objects, I showed you the wireframe, are calculated automatically here on the curve. Why? Because this my routine is getting the length of this object and is distributing or scattering it on the curve automatically. If you don't want this, you can also switch this off, and you see all the objects, all the patterns are now placed 10 times along this curve. So you can change your divisions or your amount of the sub-objects by yourself if you want, and reduce them, for example, to have less objects placed on the curve here. But if you don't want this and want to do it automatically, you can do it by auto repeats here like this. Good. The next point is after the object is placed, it will be calculated to the real world diameter size. So it will be placed to 15 millimeters like it's set here. As you can see, it's the same diameter like here, even if it's bigger in the world. So what I do is I scale it to this value here you need. Okay, so you can see it works very well. So okay, so what about another one? I show you this one here. It's like a bit like a vacuum cleaner part. So if these objects have to be different, I do the same. I put another one here. I get the vacuum cleaner. It's this one here, and you see it's placed along this curve 24 times because there's no auto repeats. If I set it to auto repeat, it will be placed directly or evenly on this curve, even if the curve is changing. So I can show it to you. If I change the length, you see the objects will be recalculated to fit exactly on the curve, the size here. So as we can see also here is the object is wrong rotated here in the world. It's a z-axis, so we have to rotate it along the z-axis to 90 degrees to have the right object. And we do it here, and I leave it to 0, and I rotate it to 90 in the z-axis, and now it will be rotated. It needs some time, and you see the cable is now here placed. Okay, very nice. And we can set, if you want, you can also reduce it to, for example, 100 or 200 parts this here, and you can see they stretch because all objects will be stretched along the curve. So you can see it also when I change here the length, then the objects will be stretched along the curve. You see this is happening here. Or if you want as I said, you can so auto repeats and they will be calculated exactly on the curve. It's on your own how you need this. Good. And now we have this curve here, and yeah, this is one of the possibilities you have. So the next one is, let's say if you don't want any kind of this object here, the head, you don't need this head, and you don't need the tail object, and instead we want to make a chain. To do the chain, first maybe I get this object here, the small anchor, and put it here at the end. So let's do it. So the head have to be the anchor here, this one. Yeah, okay, we have it. And you see the anchor center point is not fitting at the end of the curve. So you see the center point here is here at this position. And this point will be taken for the placement. So you see the point is somewhere here. And it will be placed here onto this object, onto this curve end. Here is the end, and the point, the anchor point, or the origin of the anchor will be placed here. So that's the reason why you can move, if you want, the object a little bit forward, and now you have corrected this object here. Okay. And then if you want, you can also say you can scale it a little bit bigger or not, how you want. So the next part is the center object. So we go to here to the center object and we change it, and we use the chain object here instead. And this is a very interesting object because I show it to you. Wait, cable, and I set it to 1. So we have a lot of chains. And again, you see the direction is wrong. Why? Because the reason is very easy. I have the rotation here, so 0. Now we don't need to rotate anything because the chain is already placed at the x-axis here, and you see it works very nice here. But the artists or the eagle eyes of you will see the parts are not fitting right. You see here the chain was built like this here, and it's not a pattern. It cannot be used for repeating because actually we should need a division here, and another one should be actually here placed to fit to this part here, because we need a pattern. But this is not a problem because I've added a function to control or to shift these parts. So you can see it here. The center has also a shift option here. Okay, and the shift option does the following. I go it out here, and it moves the object along the x-axis. As you can see, it will be moved into this direction, and it fit now onto this model. So now you can use it in this way. See? So here it is. So you can stretch it locally a little bit, and now it fits here on this object. This is very nice. So if you want, you can also switch off the auto repeats and change the size of your chains here if you want. But in this way, don't forget, they will be always stretched. Or if you change the size of your curve, so it's most time it's better you make an auto repeat, and you can then change the length of your chain, or you can change it like this here. You can rotate or use a different length here. Wait, here it is. Now scale it a bit, and now we have a very nice chain object that can be used here as a chain. Yeah, this is a shifting part here, so you can shift the object a little bit, and you can see it works very nice here. Good. Yeah, that's it actually. So you can see this smart cable modifier can do more things than just cables. and I hope you like it and you can maybe use it in your daily work or can use it for any projects. You can find this on my website, in one of my shops on Superhive or in Ko-fi. The links will be placed into the video description here in this video. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed my modifier and maybe use it later. Bye bye.